Fly chick coming through. Nice to meet you. Glad you came too. Like you stand when you know you got moves. You spit game and you know you spit.
Hey everyone, before we get into the episode, I just wanted to say thank you for coming back to listen to part 2 of our Australian Grand Prix recap show. We're excited you're back. And if you didn't listen to part 1, definitely don't miss out on that. Go ahead and listen to that first before you jump into this one. Okay, thanks and enjoy the show. Now that we've seen one full race, we've got a good taste of what races might look like for 2026. What is your opinion about how these new regulations worked and the quality of racing it produced?
Listen, I liked it. I liked it. I liked it. Like, I know there's such a mix online, and I'm just like, guys, don't hate me. I enjoyed Australia. I enjoyed it. No matter what you think about this like boost mode and the mainly being like the battery powering these races, you cannot lie and say that wasn't an entertaining race, because it was, and we've got plenty of overtakes, and you could say, oh well, it was kind of this back and forth, and can we just enjoy something as a fan base, please? Can we just put the keyboard down and just let me enjoy
That's
the
right.
race?
Put the
Thank you.
keyboard down. I appreciate it. No, I'm really with you on that. Just for perspective, F1 did put out a stat after the race, which kind of made me giggle because honestly, I was like, this feels like F1 being like, haha, look, you all thought this racing was going to suck, and it didn't. They put out a stat saying that last year, the Australian Grand Prix had about 45 overtakes. This year, on the race on this weekend, we had 120 overtakes in the entire race. Is that shocking, Yasmin? Like, I feel like that's shocking me, honestly. 120 overtakes?
Yeah, that's mental, and we probably didn't even see all of those on the broadcast. So much was happening.
Yeah.
Like, that's incredible. And you know what? That's also incredible for fans that have paid a lot of money to go and sit in those stands, because you know, sometimes you don't really see any overtaking. You don't see
Yeah.
much when you go to a Grand Prix, but to know that we've got like pretty much double the amount of overtakes, I feel happy for those fans that paid the money to go to Australia this weekend.
Me too. My last Grand Prix that I went to, which is the Canadian Grand Prix in Montreal, I literally, from where I was sitting, saw 2 overtakes the entire race. And it was hard to even see those because it happens so fast in front of you. You're like, did that just happen? I don't know. Yeah. So I agree with you. As a fan, I think if you're sitting here this week and saying, that race was so boring, you are a liar. A liar. Because that race was incredibly entertaining. The amount of times I screamed out loud, it's probably 120 times. Honestly, like to match the overtakes. The beginning of that race was pure cinema, and I stole that from Matt and Tommy on P1, but that's how they described it, and I 100% agree. The one thing I will say, and for me, this is probably different because I am a US fan, I live in the United States, and our broadcast rights have been moved to Apple Television. So I can't see the global broadcast anymore, which I'm kind of sad because I really just miss the pundits. Like, honestly, I just want to hear their voices and their funny jokes. But the broadcast, I felt like it was lacking that understanding and support for fans. Because Matt and Tommy said this in one of their clips I saw on TikTok, and it made me really think, like, man, if I'm a new Formula One fan, like say I watched Drive to Survive for the first time, or I decided this year is the year I'm going to get into it, like, us as seasoned fans didn't know what the heck was happening. And you hear all these things being thrown around, these terms, boost mode, overtake mode, battery harvesting. But, like, there weren't enough graphics on the broadcast to help me understand and support, like, what I'm seeing happen or what you're talking about. I would love to see more graphics around, like, how much energy does everybody have in their battery? Because when you were seeing battles play out, that's a question now in your head is like, oh, does so-and-so have enough battery to even like take this fight halfway down the track or the whole way around? And there wasn't anything to see that. There were a couple of times when there were battles going on where there was a graphic that popped up to show like their battery life. But I wish there was more of that. I don't know what it was like for you on Sky Sports, Yasmin. Did they have any good graphics for you, or was it kind of the same?
It was kind of the same. I think, like, probably the broadcasters are like, I could I couldn't imagine trying to like run a broadcast when everything has changed so much. Like the teams don't even know sometimes what's happening. The drivers
Yeah.
don't. So how are you as a pundit, a commentator, as the guy in the back that's putting the graphics on screen? Like how are you supposed to know when to put things where? So I think like throughout the season they will change some things, bring in new graphics. I'm sure Formula One are going to make more like even YouTube videos trying to say, hey guys, this is what's going
Yeah.
on if you have no clue. Because yeah, we need a how-to F1 right now.
Yeah. Like Tech Talk for Formula One, guys. Start bringing those out more because we need to understand this. But yeah, I hope that happens. And I don't know if you heard this also because you mentioned you listened to a lot of Oliver Behrman's comments after the race. The drivers don't have anything on their steering wheel to show them how much battery they have available to them. And if what?
Like, excuse me? Pause.
Like, I need to see the battery life of my phone, let alone in the car I'm driving, in which I need to strategically understand how to deploy and when to deploy the battery power that I may or may not have. Like, what? I thought for sure, like, just give them, like, a little iPhone thing, you guys. Like, right in the corner of their screen, okay? Like, just the barrel, just, like, a little, like, give them something. But that is bizarre to me. I did not know that until after the race. And honestly, I was like, how is that even possible?
How did we not think about this? I don't know, because like when you're driving, you don't want to be like, okay, let me radio in and say how much battery do I have. Sometimes you have those like split moments where you're like, okay, let's go for it.
Right.
But like, hello, what?
Like, well, like I have to call in to the help center to find out how much battery life I have in my battery. And by that point, like, there's just, like, to your point, there's not enough time for them to call in. Or, like, the pit wall can't be managing your battery. Like, what are they just, like, 50%, 55%, 60? Like, are they just, like, counting down? Like, what is going on? I think that needs to be fixed. That's insane to me that wasn't. I just assumed they saw. And there's so many questions, too, that we don't know that I would love to understand around, like, how are some of these things, like, is the driver controlling everything, like, when they're harvesting, when they're not, when they're using boost mode, when they're not? Or is the pit lane controlling some of that? Because with Max Verstappen's issue with his rear lockup, like I mentioned, just to quickly go back to that, since we're talking about how all these things work, they said it was a software issue. It basically, like, the car was like, oh, we need to reharvest energy now, and that's why we're braking. And that caused a very serious accident in which someone could have been hurt traveling at those speeds. So that made me bring up all these different questions around, like, wait, who controls it? Does the driver control it? Do they both control it? Like, is it only the pit wall? Like, I don't understand. And I hope as the season goes on that F1 and the FIA and the broadcast kind of do their due diligence to help us understand what's going on. Because if this regulation of cars is going to continue on into the future, like, we have to understand it.
Yeah, that's pretty like I think a basic thing that I want as a fan is to understand the sport.
Yeah.
And understand the cars, and for the drivers as well. Like that is very concerning. Like you mentioned, Max having this huge accident, and again, this is only the start. This is only the first race, you know. And we saw Oscar crash as well on his way to starting the race. Like, he didn't even start the race. So this is like a bit of a concern that is coming up, is safe, like kind of that safety issue that definitely needs to be looked into.
Absolutely. Yeah. And sorry, we didn't mean to skip over that. Yeah, Oscar Piastri, the Australian race curse is still alive and well, and even worse than before. Honestly, last year, Isaac Hadjar was victim to it. He kind of was victim to it this year, too. But yeah, Oscar Piastri, the home star, crash out on the outlap to the grid. Insane, absolutely insane. And yes, there are a lot of question marks as to, like, how the heck did that happen? He did, in his post-race interview, say that it was partially his fault, but it's also a lot of people are saying, was it a software glitch? Was it an issue? And Zach Brown afterwards was like, yeah, we're going to look into it. But yeah, to that same point, like, yes, these new regulations, these new rules, this new technology did produce some good racing, but there's also a lot of questions around it and scary safety concerns and I don't think it's 100% worked out yet, which is a little terrifying that these drivers are out there risking their lives and like this thing isn't 100% worked out. It did produce good racing for this first race, at least. Like you said, we don't know what China looks like, and just wait till the teams start to better understand these things and they're going to freaking catch up faster than you can say macaroni and cheese. But it's just kind of crazy that we're still kind of dealing with this and we have already finished the first race of the season. So many question marks still. I thought maybe seeing this race would give me like answers to a lot of my questions, and if anything, it developed more questions.
I
So,
think everyone's on that same boat.
mhm.
Even the drivers, like I mentioned, everyone's just like, huh? What?
What just
Why
happened?
is this working?
What? Yeah, everyone is confused. So if you're confused, don't worry. Everyone, including the drivers and the teams, are also still confused. And so are the people that even made these rules. So don't worry about it. You're not the only one. Really quick, guys, I want to talk about our sponsor, which I'm so proud to be the owner of, which is Grand Prix Girl. If you didn't know, Grand Prix Girl really started with a simple frustration. It's me and my mom. We've loved F1 for so long, but we couldn't find merchandise made for women, which kind of blew our minds, seeing that women make up now over 43% of the F1 fan base. So we decided to make our own. Yes, that's right. We went into business together and we started making our own F1 merch. The brand is called Grand Prix Girl. Grand Prix Girl offers jewelry in race day style designs exclusively for female F1 fans. We keep you guys top of mind every time we are designing something, and our brand is truly all around female Formula One and motorsports fans. You can shop our best-selling products like our paddock pendant and even our new double stack bracelets that just came out at grandprixgirl.com. You can find us on Instagram and TikTok as well at Grand Prix Girl, and we hope you come join us over in our community. We are really proud to sponsor this podcast, and we are so, so proud and honored to bring you merch made for female fans. So again, go check us out at grandprixgirl.com, and back to the podcast. All right, let's move on. Obviously, those Mercedes. Let's get into it because they were a rocket ship this weekend. You say sandbag, I say sandbag. Sandbag. Like, they didn't just put a sandbag on that car. They put like 400 sandbags on that car and then took them off at the last lap of P3 this weekend. And all of my hopes and dreams for Ferrari just sunk down into my soul. I think I like quivered. I was like, no. And honestly, I think Charles Leclerc did too. I watched his after feed commentary and he was like, yeah, the Mercedes are fast, unfortunately. But they dominated this entire weekend, not just with pace, but also with reliability. That car did very, very well. The team did stellar. And George came out with the first win of the season with Kimi right behind him in P2, a Mercedes 1-2. Yasmin, do you think this is a sign of things to come, or do you think we need to pump the brakes on our Mercedes hype train so far in this season? Because let's be real, their performance this weekend was impressive.
Yeah, a 1-2 for Mercedes with Russell winning, Kimi behind him is a huge statement for Mercedes. I always feel like whenever this regulation like reset hits, like the teams that interpret the rules the best early usually gain the biggest advantage and kind of keep that advantage throughout the entire season. Like, they looked so comfortable and and even with their pace and their energy management. But that being said, it's still race one of a brand new era. So I wouldn't declare them dominant yet. I know everyone's like, they're going back into their dominant era. Hold on.
Yeah.
But they definitely look like the team that everyone is chasing right now. Listen, I can't lie. I'm a bit excited. I'm a bit excited. I just know Lewis Hamilton, although he is in like a great car at the minute, Ferrari seem to be doing quite well with pace. He's bound to be going, why I could have... But again, it is still so early on, so I'm like saying all this with a pinch of salt. But I'm excited. I'm excited to see like kind of another team take the lead. But again, this could all be like rubbish when it comes to the upgrades, different tracks. Who's to know?
Yeah.
But exciting, Brianna.
I know. It was exciting to see. even though I'm a Ferrari fan and like I'm still riding on the Ferrari delusion high from this weekend, to be honest with you. I'm not that disappointed in the results. But yeah, they were so fast. They pulled those sandbags off and had those Mercedes go do one last lap George do one last lap in P3, and honestly, I think everyone's jaws hit the floor. The times that George Russell were putting in were astonishing. So fast. And honestly, if we were back in 2025 with the 2025 red car and Mercedes was like this, it would be like after the first race this season, I'd be sitting here and being like, well, it was a nice season. See you guys later. Mercedes is going to win it all. But I think I'm not like that right now because of these regulations. But like you mentioned, it's the first race of the season. I think Mercedes got really lucky and got it right with these regulations on the first shot, which is shocking, seeing how things went for them the last time the regulation change happened. Dude, when George Russell did that lap at the end of P3 and they cut to Toto Wolff, and the face of pure joy. And like literally it made me think of like Jeremy Clarkson's smug face when he would always make, yeah, it literally was that. But he literally looked at the camera and like, honestly, I can't wait for that meme is going to live on this entire season. But you could just see the confidence and like the suckers. Like that's what that face is giving.
You doubted us for so long, but we're back.
Exactly. It's like, we're back, baby. But I do agree with you that just give some of these other teams some time. And we've seen how cars can evolve so fast over a season. I mean, McLaren showed us that 2 seasons ago, how they weren't that great in the beginning of the season and were challenging at the end. And that led to their dominance. So, I think Mercedes is probably going to have a huge advantage over all the other teams, I would say, for the first half of the season, for sure. I would not be shocked if we see many more Mercedes 1-2. But like you mentioned, Ferrari is close behind. They're not a Mercedes, but they also had great success this weekend. Positive success. Could have been better. They were fighting the Mercedes pretty much the whole way. And we have the new regulations to thank for that, honestly. Like I said, if this is 2025, I'd be packing it in and being like, yay, Mercedes won the constructors and the drivers. But I'm sitting here today saying, I don't know if that's really going to be the case. Like, I just don't. They do have pace, but like these 2026 regs gave us a great duel for multiple times in this race between the Ferraris and the Mercedes. And it was because of the way these cars are running on track. So, yeah.
Say, like, something that I've really loved, again, only one race we've watched so far, but, last year when a car would overtake, usually that's the overtake done. Like, it would be hard for that car to get past again. But it was great to be like, okay, they've had this overtake, but we can go back and forth for lap after lap. And that is so exciting as a fan to kind of see that. Well, it's not just a one and done. Like, there's so much more we can get out of a race. So, very interesting.
Yeah, it's so exciting. And it was so exciting to watch as a fan. And like you said, it didn't just end. The overtake, I think we're all used to that. Like, the overtake happening and it being like, oh, no, okay, well, now they're in first. Like, it went on for laps and laps and laps and laps. It was amazing. Honestly, when Charles Leclerc took the lead, it wasn't even the first turn, I don't think, and he took the lead. I was like, the Ferrari delusion immediately rose again. Like, I just was like, as a Ferrari fan this week, my hopes and dreams like have gone like, woo, up, down, up, down, up, down. Like, that is how my weekend has been. I'm like, wait, do I need to be hopeful? Is this a lie or is this actually happening? No, it's actually happening. No, wait, maybe it's a lie. I don't know. Like, am I insane? Maybe. But yeah, it was just amazing to watch. But there's no doubt that Mercedes have built a rocket ship of a car, and they are definitely going to be one of the ones to beat, if not the one to beat right now. But like we said, Ferrari also had promising pace. They had promising straight line speed. Charles Leclerc, the king of defending, was all over it. But it didn't work out. They still finished with a P3 and a P4, which isn't bad for the first race of the new regulations, where some people were just using it as a practice session. Aston Martin, Ferrari was still able to get good points and have both of their cars ending on good places. I think that's so important. So last year we saw Charles getting good results and Lewis not, and we saw both cars together 3-4. But Yasmin, where in the race did you see Ferrari's possible 1-2 or possible podium win kind of slip away?
Do you want to start? I don't want to talk about them.
You want to put me through that pain? You don't think I've already lived through
Listen,
this?
you're the Ferrari girl, so you know what? I'm actually gonna chuck it back to you because
Ugh.
you're the one that, like, I know we all bleed red, but you really bleed red.
I
for this team.
bleed red and then white and blue. No, okay. Look at my American jokes. Hysterical. Okay. I feel like it just went wrong strategy-wise. Listen, like when they didn't come in for the first VSC, I was like, okay, I kind of see what they're doing. They're committing to a one-stop. Like it's early. If they put on the hards now, they might not last. This medium, like it's going well. So I was like, okay, I'm still on the board here. I'm still on board. I do agree with Lewis Hamilton that they should have at least tried a different strategy with one of them, but I wasn't doubting it. Where I really felt like Ferrari let the podium and the possible 1-2 go was that second VSC. They should have pitted right away. They should have matched Mercedes' strategy, but I heard so many people mention this, and this is classic Ferrari strategy. They're too busy looking at like the data that's being given to them about like the best possible race outcome instead of looking at what's going on track in front of them. And that's what I felt like happened this weekend. I felt like at least one of those cars could have finished first if they would have matched Mercedes' strategy, but they didn't. So frustrating on that end, but I am still honestly happy for the 3-4 finish. I am very, very happy that Lewis Hamilton had a positive experience. I think we said this last year, like this will be the telltale for Lewis Hamilton with his relationship with Ferrari. And I feel like this was still very much a good start to the season for both of them. Still brought in consistent points. They really matched Mercedes there in that segment. So disappointed that it wasn't more, but I'm not upset. I'm just happy to see that we're like right behind Mercedes, like honestly.
I know it is really positive, but I think the reason why I'm not on the Ferrari hype train quite yet is just because
Yasmin, just be
keep
delusional
thinking,
with me.
I know, but I just keep thinking about like that race that we had a couple of years back with Charles Leclerc in Monaco, and just like the strategy. And I just can't let the trauma of that. I just can't let myself, like, yes, oh my God, you might have the most amazing car this season, but if you can't get the strategy right, what's the point? What's the point?
Yeah, I think I don't disagree with you, okay? I'm just being as positive as possible right now, putting out all the good vibes because I need it. I need it. The Ferrari fans need it. But like to your point about strategy, not just around Ferrari, but I was thinking a lot about this watching the race, and especially in the beginning when we saw this cat and mouse game with George and Charles. The people that are going to be able, sorry, not the people, the drivers and the teams that are going to be able to dominate and extract as much out of their car, even if they do not have the fastest car on the grid, is the people that are going to be able to master this battery harvesting and deployment and how they strategize using it. Because if you can do that, you can have an advantage over your opponent that might have more speed than you. And I think this bodes well for Charles Leclerc. Because, okay, here we go. Everybody put on your aluminum hats with me because we're going here. We're going here. Charles Leclerc has always been an amazing defender, and he has always been a driver that is thinking 3 or 4 steps ahead of what he's doing. And he is making moves on the track that are going to play out better or going to play out well 3-4 turns from now, not just in this turn, in that turn. And I think this is why this style of driving and this new car regulations is going to play in his favor, just because of the way he thinks. And the drivers that are able to wrap their heads around this type of stuff faster and understand and get better at like where harvesting happens, where deploying happens, when you need to deploy, when you need to hold back, are going to be the teams and the drivers that have the advantage and are going to be able to extract as much performance out of that car and result as possible. I don't know if you disagree with me on that, but that thought was constantly going through my head as I was watching the race on technically Sunday morning.
No, I don't disagree. I don't disagree. I think I just expect Ferrari to somehow find something to mess up. And that's why I'm just like, I just can't jump on the train right now, guys. I just need more time. So, but I'm glad that you're there.
Thank you.
I'm going to be here to pick you back up when you need it.
I love how you didn't say if, you said when.
Yeah.
You weren't like, if it happens. You were like, when Ferrari fail you, I will be here to pick up the pieces.
I will.
You know what, guys? Get yourself a friend like Yasmin, because that's what we all need in this F1 community, to be like, when your team fails you, not if, when, I will be here to pick you up again. I will be here. I appreciate that, Yasmin. I really do.
No worries.
All right, welcome back to our Australian Recap Podcast, Part 2. Part 2, we're jumping right back in. There's so much to talk about. We could be here for 5 days. But Red Bull had some highs and lows this weekend, but mostly lows, and they definitely overshadowed any highs that they had. What do you think, Yasmin, this tells us about where Red Bull stand at the moment? We've heard Max Verstappen very much vocalize about how he feels about this racing, even though he had a decent result this weekend compared to like where he started on the grid. And then Isaac, of course, amazing qualifying. I was so happy. Oh my God, that brought me so much joy. And then it was quickly taken away by his DNF that happened at no fault to him. But like we said, some highs, lots of lows, and those lows really overshadowed it. So what do you think this tells us about where Red Bull is right now and where they stand as a team?
For Red Bull, it felt like a weekend of potential, but just not execution. Like they had their moments when the pace looked good, the pace looked decent, but they just overall consistently struggled to fight at the front. And I think with the brand new regulations, it's not unusual. Again, it's not unusual. Some teams need a few races to kind of unlock their concept. We've seen this not just with these new regulations, but with regulations previous. So I think we still, the book could still be up there. We don't know. But so heading into the Chinese Grand Prix, there's still hope that they can be better and like to kind of understand their system. Again, like we talked about the software issues that Max Verstappen had that led to his big crash. But one thing I do want to say is, Isaac, I know you DNF'd, but I'm very proud of you. I'm very proud of you for number one being second seat Red Bull driver. Him qualifying P3 I was like, what?
Yeah, I had the same exact reaction to Isaac's qualifying. Honestly, I think we all have been like cheering for him, and we all know the curse of the second seat at Red Bull. And I had high hopes for Isaac because I've heard his driving style is very similar to Max Verstappen's, and that's why I've been saying for years about that second seat. Like, you either need to find a clone of Max Verstappen or someone who drives very closely to his style. If you don't, you won't find success in that second seat. And I really hope that this is a sign and a showing that Isaac is that guy. Obviously, he DNF'd, which just broke my heart into all these pieces, especially the way he started his season last year. I was like, yes! When that qualifying happened, I was like, redemption for Isaac! Justice! But then he DNF'd. So that was sad. But it was good to see the performance that Red Bull possibly has in qualifying and possibly in the race. I think, obviously, Max crashed out, had to start at the back of the grid, or toward the back of the grid. But he was still able to pull out a P6, which I think is impressive with these new red cars that he was able to do that. But I'm also thinking like, man, if this was Max Verstappen 2025, I think he would have been possibly on the podium. So that kind of makes me smile a little bit though. Not gonna lie. But yeah, not enough to be able to tell kind of where they sit. I don't think they're at the bottom. Let's say that. I don't, from the little glimpses of good performance we saw. But yeah, they definitely have some work to do for sure. They will be a team I'll be watching very closely in China, and hopefully they have better luck there. Another team that honestly I was very shocked to see not having the performance I thought they would, McLaren. Obviously, Hard to tell because Oscar crashed out before he could even race. And so we didn't get to see what that second car performance would look like with another driver. But Lando just seemed to be lacking the pace. And this is my question for you, Yasmin. I don't know if it's the pure performance they have in that car that is stopping them from going faster, or if it's Lando's inability to wrap his head around how to drive this new regulation of car. What are your thoughts on where McLaren's at right now and kind of what you saw this weekend from them?
That kind of, like, that's a really good point. The struggle of, like, can they just not work the car, or is it the car fundamentally?
Mm-hmm.
And that is a question that I'm kind of looking at with every driver and every team, because it's so like, oh, like, can you just, or is it hard for you to understand how to drive this car? I want to think that this is just a problem with the McLaren, and McLaren, I think, can bring upgrades really quickly to close their gaps. Usually, in previous seasons, of course, this could be totally different this year. The cars are a lot more complex. They mainly struggled with pace and their straight line speed compared to their rivals, and again with Oscar Piastri crashing, that's less data for them to understand. And also for Oscar Piastri, next race I think is going to be a really hard one for him. So I think it's going to take a good more couple races to really see, okay, like, we need to work on like how you work this car, or if this is, we need to bring more upgrades and we're just not fast enough. But I think it's a real shame for them to go from being at the top of the pyramid last season to now kind of being in this awkward, like, oh, we can't really get going.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's such a different story from last year. Last year, they were rockets on the straight line speed. Everyone was saying, like, I can't catch him on the straights. And this year, they're lacking that. So it's almost like a completely flip. I hope we see them make some more progress. Like you said, upgrades. Historically been able to really kind of bring those quickly, and hopefully they can. And hopefully Oscar will just have a better race next week. Because all those people, I feel so bad for all the fans that were there to watch him and didn't get to. And it's so different. He's an Australian driver. Like, it's so much harder for those fans who live in Australia to travel to other countries. It's so much more expensive, much more of a trip. So Oscar fans, our hearts are with you, Daniela and Yasmin included, because they are big Oscar believers.
Yeah, it seems to be like the Aussie curse. I don't know what it is. You know what? Maybe it's because it's always one of the first races of the season that, like, it's kind of just up in the air of who kind of does well.
Yeah.
But the Aussies just never seem to pull out of the park at the first seat race of the season.
Don't pull out of the park at Albert Park. Ah, God. That was a bad dad joke. Okay, to wrap it up, Yasmin, who was your standout driver for this race?
I have two.
Okay, we love this.
So I'm first going to say Kimi Antonelli because, I mean, this is his second season.
Yeah.
Like, what? He's so young as well, which kind of,
He's
like,
still a baby, if you're wondering.
Like, he's younger than me and I'm 22. Like, it's really weird.
Yeah, it's wild.
But, like, even though he's not a rookie this season anymore, finishing second at an opening race with completely new regulation area, it's so impressive. It's so impressive. I'm sure all the other drivers are kind of going, well, damn, this kid's got it. And he's definitely going to be a future World Championship winner. I think we've all said it. Mercedes have put so much, like, backing onto Kimi that I think that it's starting to come out why. He's an incredible talent. I just thought that is, like, just incredible for his second season. And I also want to say Arvid Lindblad, like, go on, son. Like, I was like, yes.
Yeah.
He did so well. And again, like, just like first race, first time in F1. I mean, hats off. I don't need to explain myself. Hats off.
Yeah. I mean, finished 8th. At one point in the race, he was running 3rd, which he even said he couldn't believe. He said he was like, wait, what? I'm in 3rd? That he is for me, he's outstanding. I would have picked Isaac if he would have finished, but yeah, I mean, amazing. His first ever F1 race, incredibly impressive to put in that type of performance. His first ever time driving with a full race in these 2026 regulations, and was able to kill it. points on his first ever race, finishing in 8th. And then what's even better is his counterpart finished in 13th. Liam Lawson finished in 13th.
I
Like,
forgot about that. Yeah.
watch out, bro. Limbad is coming for you, dude. Like, and if I was Lawson, I would hope that that was like a blip and he was just running on adrenaline of his first race and that doesn't happen again. But well done. Hats off. We can't say anything better. So well done to him. It was an exciting first race. If all of our races are like this, I'll be a happy, happy camper. And I feel like that's why I'm still riding on this like post-race high today on a Monday, besides the fact that it's absolutely beautiful outside. Yeah. Any other thoughts on this first race of the season before we close this out?
I just think everyone, whether you like the new regulations or not, this is going to be a season to watch. This is going to be a season to watch. And I hope that China isn't the most boringest race after he's just saying that. But I'm hyped. I'm here. And I just can't wait to see where we go this season. Because I honestly feel like we can go anywhere with who's going to win. I really do.
I totally agree. And like, I don't think that this kind of chaos will be throughout the season, to be honest, just because these teams are so good. They figure it all out really quickly. But I think the span of like chaos might be a little longer than normal, to be honest with you. Just because there's so many different things that have changed. And like Daniela said in our last episode, this is the shakeup that F1 has needed. And I think the first race of their season really proved that. So yeah. Thank you guys for joining us for our second episode of season 2, recapping the Australian Grand Prix. We love having you here. Daniela, we miss you, but she will be back on another episode. Yasmin, thanks for being here. I appreciate you.
Thanks for having me.
Having you, you're a host.
I know, I'm a part of this, but thanks for having me.
This is your podcast. But yeah, guys, thanks for joining us. We appreciate it. As always, please make sure to subscribe to the podcast so you don't miss a single episode. We're also over on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube if you like to watch your podcast as well. Make sure to support us over there. And last but not least, if you'd love to show us a little love in the reviews, we would love to hear your feedback too. But until next race recap, we will see you then, and we will see you in the fast lane. Bye-bye.
Hello, fly chick coming through. Nice to meet ya, glad you came too. Like your style when you know you